Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm okay. Just a heads up. I'm not liking one, two, three. The library collection policy is probably going to be put on hold till we have Craig.
All right. That one has been reviewed by Gail and the library media coordinator. Just
Yeah.
FYI, but yeah, we can hold it if you don't.
I mean, I'll discuss it, but I don't think that we'll vote on it. I'll tell you why. Wait, is this recording?
Yeah.
Is it going to be edited?
Hang on. Uh, Hang on. Cancel. Pause. I can't turn off YouTube.
All right, I'll just tell you later. Do
It's
you
it's
know,
it's the trickiest one on the list. There's no question. Everything else is pretty straightforward, in my opinion.
I just don't agree with some of it, that's all.
Yeah, it is state law. It is the most recent mandate, so a lot of it is
No, it's just a
straightforward.
couple of statements in there about the board. Um, and like the board does not actually hire, you know, like the library media specialist. So
Yeah, well,
I'm not gonna say that they are the professionally certified, whatever. Like that's not my job to say that. You know what I'm
well,
saying?
this is good. We can go through it and we can point out all those things and I can check with Craig and
Yeah.
Shipman for which ones we need. And so then when this comes around again in February, we can move forward.
Okay. Is it gonna be that long, February?
That's our next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I kind of wanted to try and do this one tonight.
Mm.
Because the other four are again just kind of the last of the required updates from the May legislative session.
Yeah.
So we're really doing quite well considering we had to cancel one meeting this fall.
Yeah. Do you know, is Maureen joining us tonight? I haven't
No,
heard anything.
no idea.
Yeah, I never know either. I'm
Galen
assuming
is coming. So
Gavin is. Okay.
I don't know if Seth is.
Oh, I assumed he usually does. So.
I thought he was traveling for some reason.
Okay. Actually, I have a friend who she lives in another state now, but she's like a actual librarian, like at a professional level. Like she was at higher institutions. And so I had asked her a question. I haven't heard back from her yet.
Mm.
Just about like qualifications and stuff. Because I know in the past, uh, who was promoted to be a library media specialist.
Here he is. Well, and just keep my the certifications are going to be different at a K-12 level.
Yeah. Oh, it's 4:30.
And Galen is here. So once he can turn his mic and camera on, we have a
Okay.
quorum. So once he's ready to go,
Hi,
there he is.
Galen.
Hi there. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
So, I don't know if Maureen's coming or if Seth is coming. Do you have any idea?
I have not heard.
No. All right, so we're just gonna start then.
Yeah, I have the window open on the side. If they show up, I'll move them over.
Okay. So this is the Madison Board of Ed Policy Committee meeting starting at 4:31. We don't have that many policies to go through, so
That means
we should have,
that
we'll
means
go
fewer
fast.
chocolate balls at the end of the year.
That is true, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So the first policy is 4119, reports of suspected abuse or neglect of children or reports of sexual assault of students by school employees. This is in the personnel series. It was passed during the 2024 legislative session. Section 40 of Public Act 24-41 authorizes a board employee to conduct a preliminary inquiry to determine if reasonable cause exists to make a report of suspected child abuse or neglect. So that all these changes that were made to this policy reflect the changes that were made at the state level in the Public Act. They've updated the policy to replace the term Safe School Climate Coordinator with the current statutory term School Climate Specialist. There were revised legal references, blah, blah, blah. So this is all stuff that we have to do. Thought it was kind of a gross policy myself.
Yeah, it's
Reading through it. Very specific.
specific and unfortunate. So I just had two quick questions. One is primarily, how is confidentiality maintained throughout the process? And then two, this is just more out of curiosity, how many preliminary inquiries do we have? You know, I would, without wanting to know details, is it a common thing? I would hope not. But the confidentiality is, I think, important.
DCF put out procedures for all of this so that teachers, when they receive their annual DCF training or their recertification on it, they get that information. It's following the steps. In very rare cases, would you conduct a preliminary inquiry 9.5 times out of 10. We follow the traditional DCF procedure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Other than that,
Yeah, I mean, there's really, we have to pass
right
to be compliant. So
would we waive a second reading?
There's a lot to read in here, but I don't know. I mean, there's like there's like pages of new sections.
So
I'm kind of on the fence about that. It's a lot to read. It's not easy reading, that's for sure. But there's really nothing that we're going to change about it because it's all, we have
statutory definition.
Yeah. So I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I mean, let's think about the calendar. How urgent is it to pass it?
It's pretty urgent, I think.
Pretty important, right?
Yeah.
And
so, I mean, it's read it, understand it, but you're not going to change anything about it because it's state statute. So
I would waive the second reading for that reason.
I'm good with that. That's actually what I put in my notes.
When in doubt, expedite. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So then the next policy is 5180.1, confidentiality and access to education records. Most of the changes in this policy are just technical edits. This says under the federal FERPA, the rights to access a student's education records transfer from the parent to the student when the student turns 18 and becomes an eligible student. FERPA permits but does not require schools to disclose education records to parents of eligible students without the student's consent if the parent claims the student as a dependent under Section 152 of the Internal Revenue Code. This policy was updated to clarify that such disclosures are permitted but not mandatory. And then there are minor technical edits. So those are the only changes. So again, this is something that needs to be passed and there's minimal changes. I say we waive the second reading.
I do too. So all of my questions are going to be more out of curiosity than critiques. So my question here for this one is, under what conditions would the district deny a parent access to records? Because it says permits, but doesn't require schools to disclose education records. So I just as a question about standard operating procedure, when would we ever deny a parent who is qualified?
I wouldn't imagine that we would.
So
no, and to be fair, this is new. We haven't encountered it.
Yeah. Right. So just it's curious.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So waive the second read on that one. Then the next policy is 6130.2.2 curricular exemptions. And this is going to go through a number change to get rid of the 0.2.2. It was formerly called exemption from instruction, so it will now be called curricular exemptions and be just policy 6130. State law requires boards of ed to permit curricular exemptions for 5 specific areas of instruction in accordance with statutory requirements. These state laws remain unchanged. In a decision issued earlier this year by the U.S. Supreme Court, the court ruled in favor of parents alleging that their free exercise rights were violated when a local school board in Maryland refused to permit excusal of their children from certain instruction. While the court's holding is narrow in scope, the school officials must now consider parent requests for excusal from instruction when they claim that instruction in certain topics burdens the religious upbringing of their children. The policy has been revised to clarify that school district administration will consider requests for excusal that fall outside of the 5 mandatory areas of exemption in accordance with applicable law. So there's a few technical edits, and then that main edit where it just says that the board does not require, but you can request one. That's the only change. So again, this is something that we need to pass. I think that we can waive the second reading on that one as well. Thoughts?
I think we can waive the second reading. I would say that this policy and the next have the potential to be hot button issues. So that would be the only reason why I would think about not waiving the second reading. I mean, but maybe we just waive it anyway. I mean, we can't change it.
Yeah, we're not going to change it. It's not going to be changed.
Right.
But so I'm actually going to skip the next one, go to the last one because it's easier.
Before you do, just real quick, I noticed in my own edits, I made a mistake on line 51. It should say rather than, other the.
Okay.
Just so you know, I did catch that. I'll fix it when it goes in the packet.
Okay.
Yeah. And do we get many requests for exemptions during the course of the year?
No.
No.
And in something like this, where if it falls outside of the 5 mandatory areas of exemption, we would fall on whether or not it would be approved. I think we would follow the Tom Mooney standard, which is it depends. And we would certainly seek legal counsel to see if they felt that was an appropriate exemption.
Yeah, we did
within the
have a
scope of the
case.
Supreme Court ruling.
Yeah, we did have a case, not for an exemption, but for, anyway, that was a couple years ago.
Under the old policy.
Yeah, okay.
All right, so we're going to go to 6050, parental access to instructional material. This is minor changes as well.
And conveniently, the change that we are required to abide by under the new state statute, we already do.
I was going to say, we do all of this already, right?
Yeah.
So this is just making sure the language of the policy complies with state law, but in practice, we are already there.
Great.
Yeah. Everything's like on the website. It's easily accessible.
Yeah. There's
so this is just
there's diagrams, there's text.
There's like the books, everything.
Everything.
So this is 6050, parental access to instructional material. Under current law, boards of ed must establish a district curriculum committee responsible for recommending, developing, reviewing, and approving all curriculum for the district. Boards of ed are also required to make approved curriculum and associated materials available to parents and guardians pursuant to Public Act 25-174, beginning with the 26-27 school year, and each school year thereafter. Boards of ed are required to post the objectives and scope and sequence of all approved curriculum on their website. We have revised the model policy to reflect this new requirement. We already do it. It's a minor edit. I suggest we waive the second read.
Agreed. And then I have my usual nosy question, which is, who sits on the committee right now, and how are they picked, and how long are the terms?
You mean curriculum?
Curriculum committee, district curriculum committee. I mean, that's us, right? That's not like,
that's the board.
Okay, fine. Okay. We're good. Okay. All right.
That would be currently our curriculum chair, Kathy.
Yes, that's right. No,
so I would say that the executive board picks it,
right.
The chair picks
it.
No,
I was imagining something like Gail's team over the summer.
Oh.
So I'd confused the issue. Okay.
It would be kind of your coordinators. That you see come present anyways at curriculum.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay.
And there's like heads of each department, like for the writing.
Yeah. The coordinators. Yeah.
Gail does all that.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And then Gail presents it to our curriculum committee, who then votes on it and brings it to the board, and we vote on it. All right. So then
dive in just real quick, just to make sure that we're all on the same page. We're going to waive the second read for the other 4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so
Thank
this is the last policy for tonight, and this is a new policy. Library collection, development and maintenance, library displays and programs, and library material review and reconsideration to repeal and replace policy 6144.2, reevaluation of challenged instructional materials and library media center resources. And I will tell you that I have some issues with this policy as it is written. So you will have a copy of the current policy in your packet. And then you will have the new policy 6144. And then there is the regulation that goes with it. So setting the regulation and the current policy aside, looking at the revised 6144. So my first issue is under definitions for the purposes of this policy, it says an individual with a vested interest means any school staff member employed by the board, the parent or guardian of a student currently enrolled in a school operated by the board at the time of the request, and any student currently enrolled in a school operated by the board at the time of the request. My issue is that this does not include any tax-paying member of the community or the Board of Ed members. So if I had an issue with something, right now, I don't have a child in the system. I don't work for the Board of Ed. I am the board part of the Board of Ed. So I can't even bring up an issue. And so I have an issue with that because I don't think that it should be limited to just the students, the faculty, and a parent of a current student. Because in my opinion, if you pay taxes into the school system in the town of Madison, then you have a say. And if I am on the board, I certainly have a say. So I have an issue with that part. And then
Very astute point. Very astute point. If I do say so myself.
a what?
A very astute point.
Are you going to make the same one?
No, she
Just checking.
got it.
And then my other issue is, let's see. Okay, so if you go to line 62, this is my next issue. The board acknowledges that a school library media specialist is professionally trained to curate and develop a collection that provides students with access to the widest array of age-appropriate and grade-level appropriate library and other educational material. And I would tell you that as a board member, I have no idea because I don't hire them. Like that's not part of my job to hire them. And so I don't actually know their credentials. And based on my experience in the past, I have known that when a library media specialist who I know, like went to school for that and was accredited, et cetera, when they retired, the person who took over was promoted from within and was previously an elementary grade level teacher. And so I don't know what that person's certification was, if they were actually professionally trained to curate and develop a collection, or if they were just made the librarian from being a teacher. So I have an issue with that because I am not going to say as a board member, oh, yes, they are, when I have no idea. That's my issue with that. Thoughts, Galen?
Oh, good point.
Because I will tell you that I have seen some books in our school libraries that I don't agree with. That, I mean, I had brought up before, I didn't think it should have been in the school library. And I also said that as a parent, when my child was in that particular grade, I went into the classroom, you know, as most parents do at the beginning of the year, and looked at the classroom collection of books and specifically told my child and their teacher, they are not going to read those books because that's not what I think is age appropriate for my child. But I know that many parents do not do that. And so I can't vouch for the fact that everything in there is age appropriate, and I don't know that our library media specialists have that training. So is there something when we hire a library media specialist, do we actually know that they've been professionally trained to curate and develop a collection?
That's something I will let Craig answer. I'm sure there's some form of certification or online training that we see receipt of, but I will certainly let him confirm that, and I'll pass the question along to him.
Okay.
Would
That's
you be
something, I mean, I have no idea, so
Mhm.
that's my
Um,
issue.
Would you be more comfortable with the language if it were to say something to the effect of, the board acknowledges that the district shall hire a library school media specialist, like to put the onus on the district since they are the ones who hires that position?
Right. I mean, I understand that ultimately we're responsible, but we are not
Correct.
directly
You're not,
involved in
you're
it.
not
Right.
checking the certs, you're not doing anything
Mhm.
like that, whereas the district would do so. Would you be more comfortable if that sort of language is added
Yes.
in?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
okay, so the board acknowledges that the district, capital D, so we know it's the actual organization. The district shall hire a school library media specialist
Who is?
is professionally trained to curate and develop a collection that provides students with all the rest of the grammar works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that would
Yeah.
have to be, that language would have to be repeated through everyone. Like, so if you look at line 85, it's the same thing.
And if memory serves, I think Gail mentioned that some of this is also done through a committee that's accredited somehow.
Well, I
So
would
line
definitely want to
60
know more about that because, like who's on the committee? How are people on the committee selected?
And this is a quadrennial hot button issue, right? This comes up like,
Yes.
you know, it's kind of like it's part of epidemiology. It's in the population. It's going to erupt every once in a while.
And I
Okay,
mean, and this was an issue recently, with some parents. So I think that change, I'm not sure if it comes up later in the policy or not. I know it was definitely in that line 62 to 64 and then 85 to like 88 or whatever. Did you have any comments about the rest of the policy, Galen?
No, I thought your first point was a great one. And you can set forth the policy and it's just going to have to be almost adjudicated on a case by case basis. I'm not sure that you can write specific enough language in the policy to cover every instance. Does that make sense?
I guess I don't want this to be so limiting that our voting community members, if they feel, because almost all the stuff is accessible on our website, you can see what the kids are reading. And I mean, we had issues with some of the books that we were offered to
Mhm.
the kids that was like
Mhm.
heavy on murder and rape and what,
Mhm. Yeah.
And so that's at the high school level, to be clear.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, like, I think it shouldn't just be, a very small group of people who are able to challenge or use the form to challenge what is being taught in our school. Because I think, it's a public issue, and what our children are learning in our public school districts is
Right.
everyone's issue.
so I will go back and I will check the definition of individual with a vested interest. I'm going to check, just trying to do it two things at once, but it's just going to be easier later to see if that's actually included in the legislation. Sometimes when they put definitions straight in, it comes right from the text.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
I
know.
will check and see if that's the case. And if not, it can be a topic for discussion when we see this again in February. And then I'll go in and make those changes that we suggested to line 62 and line 85. I
Okay.
don't think anyone's going to have an issue with that. It just clarifies the chain of command
Right.
and who's
Right.
responsible for what. And I will have Craig be ready to speak a little bit more about the certification process and credentialing of library media specialists.
Right.
Okay. So then
And
this
then-
will come back to policy then at our next meeting and then
Yeah.
go from there.
Yeah. And then the third aspect of this, which is a library material review and reconsideration policy governing school library materials, displays, and programming. So that's just a review of policy, right? Is there anything in this policy that governs how questions, challenges, appeals are handled?
That's
like
the the regulation, which is where they told you to put it. So there's the
Yeah.
library review procedure, which came
Mhm.
from the library media staff here. And
Okay.
then the part B, which is the actual form that the individual would fill out if they had an
Okay.
issue,
A
which isn't
grievance.
much
Yeah.
different than what we have in the current policy now. It's just that it's
Yeah.
outdated.
Okay. Because that's where the rubber meets the road in terms of parental
Yeah.
concerns. Yeah.
All right, so do we have any other comments about the old policy, the new policy, or the regulations so that we can get it finalized at the next policy meeting? Anything else? Any burr under your saddle? I gave you mine.
No, that's
You set it up like it was going to be, you were going to take this thing apart line by line. It was just 2
Oh,
seconds.
no,
Like, okay,
that was it. But those are big ones though, I
no,
think.
they are.
yeah.
I thought I was going to have to get out the red pen or something.
The delete button. All right, so the other 4119, 5180.1, 6130, and 6050. Those are all going to go forward to the board at the next Board of Ed meeting, hopefully to waive the second read. Vote on that. Vote yes, good.
Yes. Yep.
All right, so I think we're done here then.
Yes, thank you for making the time. I know this was kind of
Oh, that's
last minute,
okay.
but these were just a few that like the technical, it's just nice to have these policies be as current as possible, as quickly as possible. Just,
Yeah, I mean, we're ahead of the game with policies, I think. Oh, is there any public comment? Yeah, so we'll adjourn
or
then.
this thing that cracks Mary Ann up every time I do it in the Board of Ed
Yeah.
meeting.
Yeah.
Adjourning at 4:53 then.
All righty.
Thank you,
This is
everyone.
a fun one. Thank you.
Yeah,
All right.
nice
Thank you.
and short. Happy
Right.
holidays, everyone.
Have a
Yep.
good holiday, everybody.